So as we've been seeing basically everywhere, Apple made a new MacBook. But this one is definitely different. Not in a way that immediately stands out, but more in a way that makes you question it. Because when you start using it, it honestly feels like any other Mac. But it's not packed with features. But at the same time, it's not missing anything essential to use casually. So then it makes you think, who is this actually for? And more importantly, why does this even exist? And I think what makes this even more interesting is that this isn't the first time Apple's tried to make something more affordable. They've always kind of walked that line in between making something accessible while still keeping that Apple experience. You see it with things like the iPhone SE or even the newer E lineup where you're getting that core Apple experience just without the extra features. And this feels like their latest attempt at doing exactly that, because at the end of the day, this is a budget MacBook running on the A18 chip. And I've been using it with my usual workload, which can get pretty heavy at times, and that's what made me really curious about this. How far can something like this actually go? Alright, so first impressions using this, it's actually better than I expected. Right away, what stood out is that it handles a decent amount of stuff open at once. I had multiple tabs, YouTube playing, a couple apps in the background, and for the most part, it stays smooth. It's not one of those laptops that instantly feels slow the second you touch it, like the Chromebook. Now, if you start pushing it a little more, you will feel it. There are moments where it gets a little laggy. Things take a second to catch up, but it's not constant. It's more like you hit that limit and you know you definitely hit it. One thing I do want to try though is editing this entire video on the MacBook Neo. I don't even know how well it's going to handle it. It might be fighting for its life the whole time, but I'm curious to see how far I can actually push it. I've already started editing some 4K footage on Adobe Premiere Pro for my short form content, and it did fairly okay. There were a few hiccups here and there, but overall, it gets the job done. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you should just go out and buy this to edit all your content or do heavy work on it. That's clearly not what the Neo was meant for. But it is kind of cool to see what it can handle to a certain extent. Build-wise, this actually feels really solid. The body feels premium. It doesn't feel cheap at all. But at the same time, it's super light. This is something you could just throw in your bag and not really think about it. Also, this is kind of a personal thing, but I still love that the notch design on MacBooks, just being able to open it with one hand, it sounds small, but it makes a difference in everyday use. But overall, first impressions, it's simple, it's clean, and honestly, more capable than you expect at this price. And speaking about the price, it comes in at $599, but of course, if you can get the student discount, it comes in at $499. So with the first impressions and the cost, how well does it actually perform? Now, I already tried pushing it a bit with some 4K video editing, and while it did work with a few hiccups here and there, that's not really what this laptop is meant for. So instead, I started using it the way it's actually intended to be used. Things like email, watching videos, writing documents, a bunch of tabs open, light apps running in the background, just everyday casual use. And I was actually doing most of this on Chrome 2, which we all know is a bit heavier than Safari, and even then, it still held up really well. And after doing all of that for about a week, it honestly impressed me. Because for those kind of tasks, it handles everything really well. It feels smooth, responsive, and most importantly, consistent. You're not really thinking about performance, it just does what it needs to do. And I think that's really the point of this laptop. It's not trying to be powerful, it's just trying to be reliable. But when it came to my actual workflow as a creator, this is where things got interesting. Because naturally, I'm doing things that push the laptop a bit more, editing photos, making thumbnails, working with video. And surprisingly, some of this actually went really well. For example, editing photos in Lightroom was smooth. There were no real issues there. Everything felt responsive. Adjustments were quick. It just worked the way you expected on any other MacBook. Same thing with making thumbnails on Canva. Even with multiple layers, images, text, moving things around, resizing, it handled everything really well. There were no stuttering, no weird delays, just a smooth experience. Now, when it came to video editing, that's where you start to see the limits. Short form content in 4K was okay. You can get through it, you can make it work, but there were definitely moments where it started to struggle. And when I tried editing more traditional horizontal content, that's where it slowed down a bit more. Timelines felt heavier, playback wasn't as smooth, and scrubbing through footage just wasn't as responsive. Especially once I started adding motion graphics, effects, anything a bit more demanding, that's when you really feel it. Things get laggy, frames start dropping, and it can't always keep up the way you'd want it to. So again, it can do it, but you're definitely pushing it at that point. Now, another thing you're gonna notice pretty quickly is the ports on this thing. You're only getting 2 USB-C ports and that's it. But the important thing to understand is that even though they look the same, they're not actually equal. One of them, the one on the top here, is faster, and the other one is basically a slower USB 2 port. So the faster port is the one you'll want to use for things like external drives, transferring files, or even connecting to an external display, because you're getting way better speeds and overall performance. The slower port, on the other hand, it's fine for basic stuff like charging or plugging in simple accessories, but once you try to do anything more demanding, you start to feel those limitations pretty quickly. And that also affects something like external monitors. If you want to connect a display, you pretty much have to rely on that faster port. And even then, it's limited to 4K at 60 Hz, which is decent, but is definitely not ideal if you're used to higher refresh rates or multiple monitor setups. So again, it works, but you're a bit limited. And as a creator, that's something you'll notice. But for more casual use, charging, plugging one or two things, it's honestly fine. It just really comes down to how you plan on using it. Now, let's talk about the display, because this is one of those areas where you can tell Apple made some compromises. First off, the resolution here is 2408 by 1506, so it's still a fairly sharp display. Text looks clean, images look good, and for everyday use, you're not really going to have any issues with clarity. But when you start comparing it to other MacBooks, that's where the differences come in. Brightness is one of the big ones. This comes in at around 500 nits, which is decent. It's perfectly fine indoors, but once you're in brighter environments or near windows, you'll notice it doesn't get as bright or as punchy as something like the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro. Color-wise, it supports P3, so you are getting a wider color range than standard displays, and everything still looks good overall. But the downside is it's not as accurate or as vibrant as the other panels on higher-end MacBooks. So if you're someone doing more serious work, photo editing, video grading, you might notice that it's not as consistent or reliable for that kind of work, obviously. The bezels are also a bit thicker, which makes it feel a little less modern compared to the thinner, more edge-to-edge look on the other MacBooks. And this is still a 60 Hz panel, so everything is smooth, but you're not getting that extra fluid feel you might be used to if you use high refresh rate displays. That being said, it's not a bad display at all. For watching content, browsing, writing, even light editing, it's perfectly usable and still looks really good. Now let's talk about our favorite, the battery life. And I'll be real, this is probably the weakest battery you'll find across the MacBook lineup right now. But even then, it's still Apple Silicon, so you're still getting really solid efficiency overall. In my experience, for everyday use, emails, browsing, watching videos, etc., it easily gets you through a full day without any issue. Like if you're using this the way a typical student would, you can comfortably expect around that full day usage, even pushing close to that 16-hour mark, depending on how light your tasks are. Now, obviously, once you start adding more demanding work, that battery is going to drop fast. But again, that's not really what this laptop is built for. So within its intended use, the battery is actually really reliable. So should you actually go out and buy one of these things? My honest opinion, honestly, yeah, I think for a lot of people, absolutely. If you're looking for something to casually use, emails, browsing, watching content, schoolwork, and you want to stay in or get to the Apple ecosystem, this is probably one of the best options you can get right now. And from my experience being in university a couple years ago, this would probably be one of the best things for me at that time. It's a really good piece of tech. And what makes this even crazier is the price. It's basically in that same range as something like the AirPods Max, which is wild when you think about it, because you're getting a full MacBook experience for that price. And I generally think this is perfect for students. I tested this the same way I used a laptop back when I was in uni, and it handled everything I did really well. Even if you're just someone on a budget who just wants something simple, reliable, easy to use, this makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously, if you're doing heavier work, then yeah, you're probably sticking with your current option or looking at something like the MacBook Air or the Pros. But yeah, if you stay within what this laptop is meant for, then yeah, this is an easy recommendation. So yeah, rocking with the MacBook Neo has definitely been an experience. I was generally shocked and impressed by how it handled everything, and it's really a great piece of tech for anyone who just wants to casually use a MacBook and get it to that MacBook system. Is it the best laptop? Obviously not, but it does the thing it needs to do, and it does it really good and efficient. That's the important thing. So yeah, this pretty much wraps it up. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.